The top stories. Businesses are preaching caution, new private sector head says. There's a poor take-up of the controversial HPV vaccine, and the Cricket World Championship is coming to Barbados next year. Welcome to Nation News for Thursday, January the 30th, 2014. I'm Bertram Niles.
You want your loved ones around to celebrate, especially those living far. And with Digicel Top-Up, Dad can help you bring life to the party and be part of the celebration. Ask him to send you Digicel Minutes. Receive free instant additional credit. Stay connected here and there. Ask your family abroad to send Digicel Minutes today.
The new head of the Private Sector Association says businesses are being very cautious in the current tough environment. Alex MacDonald, the former CEO of Line Barbados, took over formally from John Williams in a ceremony this morning. He called for more action on growing the economy and less of the blame game.
And I think what we have to do is to assume the position of not trying to blame, but trying to actually grow. If we can move away from blame, who is at fault? Is it the private sector who's not doing its job and whatever, or is it government or whatever? We have to move away from that. We have to create an environment where people are not blamed, but we try to change and to move forward. I think that would be the big task.
Outgoing private sector head John Williams chided the authorities for taking their time over actions to prevent the harsh remedial measures now being undertaken, including the planned retrenchment of thousands of public sector workers. He was praised by both his successor and Minister of Labour Esther Bayasuku for his leadership of the Private Sector Association, the umbrella agency for 10 business groups in Barbados. Barbadian entertainers made $18 million in foreign exchange from performances abroad in 2011, and the Minister of Culture, Stephen Lashley, is pushing hard to raise that figure. But he says the lack of empirical evidence to support the revenue-earning potential of the cultural industries has been making it less favorable to policymakers. That's why a workshop on research and statistics has been organized with the help of the Organization of American States and Argentina, whose Director of Culture is Gerardo Sanchez. Just 40%, that's 4 in every 10 schoolgirls in Barbados, are taking the vaccine approved to protect against cancer-causing strains of HPV, the human papillomavirus. A disappointing rate, according to Dr. Vikas Chachani, an acting consultant at the QEH. He said that at one faith-based private school, only 3% of the girls took the vaccine, which prevents cervical cancer. The Ministry of Health is offering the vaccine to girls 11 and 12 years old before they become sexually active, a link that has fueled controversy over the vaccine's use. Remember the scandal last year when thousands of flying fish were suspected of being contaminated? Well, the Fisheries and Markets Division is seeking to ensure that the fish you may be having for dinner right now is harvested and processed to the best hygienic standards. Mike King of Nation News has been speaking to Michelle Wiggins, a facilitator at the latest handling workshop for fish vendors.
Good to have you here again this morning, Michelle Wiggins. Tell us about the course here this morning.
This course is about fish handling. It deals with all aspects of person from the boat to the customer, and it deals with improvement of fish handling techniques. So this course is all about improving the standards at the various fish markets. From feedback, this is the most training that has the most outturn, and so it's good. But there are still some who refuse to come to the training, and ironically, these are the same persons who continue in bad food handling practices. So our aim is to try to make it mandatory that all persons have it on an annual basis. There are 6 modules. The first one deal with hygiene on board. The second one deal with offloading procedures. So dealing with proper handling of offloading. And also the third one, which would be my section, would be processing. So what you do during processing of the fish, how to ensure that the product is safe. The fourth module dealing with fish spoilage, and then the fifth one will be dealing with the risk assessment, the risk that is associated with fish, and the final one will be the employee and customer relationship.
The City of Bridgetown Credit Union is doing its part to make sure more than 1,200 children are fed every day. The financial institution has donated $5,000 to the YMCA's Breakfast Club, YMCA President Andrea Taylor says they've seen an increase in children at the program. She praised the credit union and said they would welcome support from the public as well.
We've got to, as a Barbadian community, we've got to say to ourselves, let us play our part, because it is critical that we play our part as individuals. We're not asking you to give financial donations. You can give product donations. All you need to do is to call the office and we will instruct you on what the menus are, so that you can actually give us some product as well. And we're asking for volunteers as well. We need volunteerism to be on the rise, because as a non-profit organization, we see ourselves, obviously we need all the career-oriented persons and the ones that are not so minded to come and be part of the four, because we can do this all together.
At Courts, every day we bring affordability, convenience, innovation, and style to over 1 million customers in 11 countries. From homes to communities, we are proud to make a difference in the lives of many across the region. Courts, bringing value home.
In news about our neighbors, a 12-year-old boy, his 16-year-old sister, and 2 other teenagers have appeared in a Trinidad court to face murder charges. They are accused of bludgeoning a 54-year-old mechanic to death and robbing him of a truck, a leaf blower, a watch, and a bank card early this month. Media reports say the 4 were chatting and laughing among themselves in the prisoner's dock yesterday. Major cutbacks will be made this year to the St. Lucia Jazz Festival, the country's premier music event. Tourist Board spokesman John Emanuel said not only was St. Lucia's economy performing poorly, but following the devastating Christmas Eve floods, it would be in poor taste to splurge on the festival.
With the constant talk from the powers that be about the tough economic times that the island is going through and the need for belt-tightening measures, we are mindful of that as well as to how we spend the people's money with regards to putting on all of the events that the St. Lucia Tourist Board has to put on and has to stage throughout the year.
In sport, have you heard of the form of cricket called Last Man Stands? Well, the Last Man Stands World Championship has been announced for Barbados in March next year. Last Man Stands, or LMS, is a new variant of 2020 cricket, which was invented in England. Each team consists of 8 members and play a maximum of 20 overs, with each over consisting of 5 balls. LMS is played in leagues across England, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. Perhaps agents can get involved and see if they can qualify. And Davis Cup tennis is on in Barbados over the next 3 days at the National Tennis Center. Barbados will play Chile in an American Zone 2 tie, with the opening singles between world number 289 Gonzalo Lama of Chile and the unranked Hayden Lewis, and between world number 380 Christian Gaddin and our highest ranked player Darian King at 458. And finally, a British businessman who carried on living under the same roof as his former wife after they divorced asked her if she would stay on as his housekeeper when he installed another woman in the home. That's what a High Court judge in London has been told. The man, who is in his 70s, could not understand why his former wife, who was 20 years younger, became so aggressive when he informed her of the new arrangements the court heard. She, not surprisingly, said she found the suggestion very demeaning. Well, for his actions, the judge ruled that the former wife was entitled to nearly half of her ex-husband's fortune, worth 45 million Barbados dollars. Ouch. And I said finally, but just before coming to the studio, it was tweeted today on Facebook that the fastest growing segment in Barbados is males aged between 45 and 55. Midlife crisis? And please don't ask me my age. But you have permission to ask Natasha tomorrow when she'll be here. Goodbye from Nation News.